Okay, good evening and welcome to our adopting the 2013 parish operating budget, and all I need on this is a, excuse me,
Move to introduce.
Madam Parish President, yes.
I would like to read the introduction
Please.
whenever you, if you want me to go ahead and do
Go
that
ahead.
before you do that, please.
Yes.
All right. Dear council members, I respectfully submit to you for your consideration and approval the operating and capital budgets for 2013. I've taken a keen interest in the budget process for St. Tammany Parish government, and I am pleased with the plan we have created for your approval. I feel confident you will see the value in the projects on which we have focused and know they will serve our residents well. After taking a long look at the operating budgets for our current fiscal year, I have decided to reduce them by over $2.6 million for the upcoming year. The proposed operating budget for 2013 is $102,161,294. The extended visit from Isaac has reinforced my belief that we must find a way to do more with less. Any emergency puts us in the vulnerable position of ensuring we have funds available to help our residents until federal funds are available to us. Because of the downturn in the economy as a whole, and especially the housing market, our general fund revenues are still under pressure. While we are beginning to see those indicators headed in the right direction, we still are not back to pre-Katrina levels. The general fund revenues for 2013 are estimated at $12.49 million, which is generated via various sources including permit fees, ad valorem taxes, occupation licenses, and other fees. Of this amount, $5 million is used to fund costs associated with the following state-mandated agencies: the 22nd Judicial District Courts, District Attorney, Ward Courts, the Sheriff, Registrar of Voters, Assessor, Clerk of Court, and Veterans Affairs. The $7.49 million balance is used to operate departments of parish government which do not operate under a dedicated funding source. I feel that it's important to note that the property taxes assessed and collected by St. Tammany Parish government are very minimal. We receive less than 7.5 mills from the total mills in property taxes assessed to our citizens parish-wide. To put this into perspective, the value of 7.5 mills on a home valued at $200,000 would equate to approximately $93.75 per year to parish government, $37.50 of which is used toward general fund, drainage, public health, and animal control. The proposed capital budget for 2013 is $11,960,500, which represents an increase of $238,603, or 2% from the current year's budget. Our total operating and capital combined budget is $114,121,794, for a total reduction of $2.4 million from the 2012 budget. Over the past several years, St. Tammany Parish has completed construction of several major roadways and bridges. We have also completed dozens of drainage projects and many others under construction. The South Slidell levee system is still being designed and completed. Plans to raise Highway 11 at the Schneider Canal levee are underway. A T-wall near the railroad tracks that run along Highway 11 is also being studied. Over the past 10 months, we have negotiated with the state and purchased 1,400 acres around Southeast Louisiana Hospital. This purchase did not include the buildings of the hospital. The primary benefit of that purchase will be drainage enhancement of the Bayou Cane and Bayou Castine watersheds. We are set to open our second federally qualified health center in Covington, in addition to the imminent opening of the parking garage for the Justice Center. We have requested and been approved for state capital outlay funds to improve and enlarge the fairgrounds facility. With these improvements, we will be able to attract national horse shows and rodeos, in addition to enhancing our support of 4-H and Future Farmers of America programs. These improvements will also allow us to use the facility in emergencies as a much-needed large animal shelter. This is just a snapshot of the projects that are underway across the parish. In consultation with you, the Parish Council, we continue to analyze the most pressing needs of our parish. I appreciate the cooperative relationship we have built in a short period of time, and I look forward to our continued collaboration. Finally, I want to take a few minutes to thank my staff. While I have learned over these last few months how talented and engaged they are, their talents and knowledge were invaluable during Hurricane Isaac. They were well prepared and led me through my first emergency as parish president. They work hard every day, but during Isaac, they were amazing. I want to say thanks to all of them. In addition, the support I received from council members was vital. I thank you also. I look forward to the next 3 years of this term and to working with our citizens to make St. Tammany even greater. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Prester.
Move to introduce the budget.
Motion by Mr. Stefancic to introduce, seconded by Mr. Belisario. That's all we need. Just as a point, I would tell you, Marty Gould and I, as chairman and vice chairman, I believe Mr. Belisario is chairman of the Finance Committee, and Reed, I'm not sure if you were at that meeting or not as vice chairman, but Ms. Brist is certainly taking our budget situation very, very seriously. As we all know, if we look at the news at night, there are municipalities and counties all over the United States that have done some things. In some cases, it appears to me to be foolish, and they eventually pay for it. In other cases, costs just have caught up with them. We're at a point where we are working on efficiency at a major, major heightened level, and our parish president is certainly cognizant of that, very much leading the way, and her staff, and the council is on board with that 100%. So thank you, Madam President.
Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. My mistake on this, because it's a special council meeting and on agenda review, we don't normally do the invocation and the pledge. But let us honor the Lord by doing an invocation from Mr. Belisario and the Pledge of Allegiance from the Honorable Maureen O'Brien.
Dear Lord, please look over us tonight as we make these decisions to open up the establishment of the Board of Review, to look at the surveying of the taxes to make sure there's equality across the parish. We need to look at and strive for flood protection for St. Tammany Parish. We saw what happened in Isaac. We were very fortunate. As we were told in my community meeting, if we would have had a hurricane level 3, the water would have been to Baton Rouge with what has happened from the South Shore. We need a study and assist us in finding the funding and the time to do a restudy of the West Pearl River to solve the problems there, so we know when there is an event versus a non-event. We need to also assist to make sure that there's an achievement of fair market values of properties, and also to look over and protect our soldiers across this planet. Thank you, Lord.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
Thank you. Our second item, ordinance for introduction, is ordinance count number 4886, ordinance adopting the 2013 and 2017 Parish Capital Improvement Budget and Program, and further identify fixed assets and grants and awards.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Stefanczyk, seconded by Mr. Ortiz, and that's all we need. Please note, the Parish Council will hold a public hearing in council chambers at 6 p.m. on Thursday, November the 1st, to review the proposed parish operating and capital budgets prior to adoption. So that's when we will have our public hearing. Copies of both budgets will be made available for review by September the 26th at the Parish Council office and the following parish library branches: Covington, Abita Springs, Causeway, Folsom, Lacombe, Lee Road, Mandeville, Pearl River, and Slidell on Robert Boulevard.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I will add that I was just told it is now on the website also.
Okay, so we have it on our website. Very good. Okay, next we
Mr.
have.
Chair?
Yes, sir.
Just a couple of things from the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee will convene on October the 24th, and one of the issues we will be talking about is having a public hearing on the new budget. And then the Finance Committee will start scheduling with the administration to have department review type meetings starting during the second half of October. And those dates will be announced to the public.
What time?
We'll start them at 6 o'clock, and we'll do as we did late last fall to try and have at least 3 departments make their presentations over a 2-hour period so that the public fully understands how the money is being spent. I think we found great success last year for doing that, and it was very helpful to everybody. It allowed the public to see that the money is being used wisely. And I think that's important that the public know that.
Thank you, Mr. Belisario. Okay, public hearing, Board of Review. In accordance with the provisions of LARS 47:1992, the St. Tammany Parish Council hereby convenes in public session as a Board of Review to entertain complaints and/or appeals from any taxpayers aggrieved by ad valorem assessments levied against his, her, their property. The assessor of St. Tammany Parish has duly advertised notice of this public hearing in accordance with law. The deadline for receipt of appeals by taxpayers to the Board of Review, meaning here at the council office, will be 11:59 p.m. the evening of September the 27th, 2012. If appeals are lodged but resolved through the parish assessor's office, the said hearing times will automatically expire and terminate without the need for the parish council to reconvene to so declare. Okay? Just to, excuse me, I'm going to come to Mr. Groby you in 1 second. Go ahead.
I was just wondering, will there be someone here to take them after 4 to 4:30 in the afternoon if someone's running a little late?
Actually, it's a good point. I would recommend faxing them. Am I correct, Mr. Savant? Because the fax receipt will indicate the time it's received.
That's correct. If obviously the office closes at 4:30, if an individual faxes it to us overnight, we will receive it the next morning.
Yeah, okay. Does anyone from the public have any questions just on the issue of getting the appeal to us? Okay. Let me also state that tonight we will not be hearing any appeals, okay? I appreciate everyone coming, but we will be hearing appeals, and we will be setting, as we have in the past, evenings, potentially Saturdays, where you will be getting a phone call from our council staff, and you will be given a time, as opposed to having to show up here at 6 p.m., and you may not see us until 10 o'clock that night, okay? So what we're going to be doing is, thank you, Dina. What we're going to be doing is giving you a time slot, which is hopefully going to save you time and keep you from having to sit around for a while, okay? Let me announce the fax number, ma'am, and then I'm gonna hear you, okay? If anybody wants to write this down, I'll give you a moment to get a pen or a pencil. This is our fax number. It is 985-898-2593. So 985-898-2593. If anyone didn't get that, if you get it from one of your neighbors in the audience, that would be great. Yes, ma'am.
No, I'm just trying to understand what you said. You're not going to be doing anything today?
We're not going to be hearing any appeals tonight, okay?
So what you said in the paper, you're not going to do it tonight, then?
Well, we're opening up the Board of Review tonight, okay, as required by state law.
I know, but you're not going to take individual names. You're just going to talk about it.
Right, exactly. And then when you get your time to come in, let me just say, bring with you as much documentation as you have, okay? Bring in your assessment page excuse me one second, ma'am, that you may have printed off of the internet, any assessments in your neighborhood that you feel are skewed versus yours, okay? We're not trying to raise values on your neighbors, let's make that clear. We're not here to do that, but we are here to fairly look at what your situation is, whether it be a private property, a house, a lot, or a business, okay? Is anybody, yes, ma'am.
So the
Please come
Come
up
up to
and
the
state
mic.
your name, please.
This is Mary Denaro, and I live in Abita Springs. So I won't be making the appointment today? We make it tomorrow? We call tomorrow and make it?
Our staff will be calling you and the other several hundred that have appealed.
Right,
ma-
but how would I, if you're not going to be doing it today, when would I put my name in? Because tomorrow night, it's over with.
We can give you the
Wh-
form tonight if you don't have a form.
Okay, but wait. What you're asking for is, have you filed an appeal yet?
Well, no, that's why I'm here.
Okay, so you want to file an appeal.
But that's why we're here, right?
Well, is anyone else here that hasn't filed an appeal yet? Okay.
We can
then-
get forms for
Very
you.
good. Glad that came up. We will get forms for you right now, okay, and distribute them into the audience. And then while we're here tonight, just fill them out and turn that in. The form is a single-page form that looks like this, okay? We'll give you a copy of that form tonight. When you go home, start gathering your documentation.
And we have to
Okay.
pass it in by tomorrow, because tomorrow night is over with, right?
No. Tonight, you're going to give us the form back. If you want to sit in the audience and fill out your form, you may. If you don't have the accurate information or you'd like to review it overnight, take it home, look at it, review it, fill it out, and fax it to us or hand deliver it to the office here by 11:59 tomorrow night.
Jerry, can I interrupt you just one second?
Yes, sir.
It sounds like you're confused about the deadline. The deadline of the 27th is simply to turn in this form.
That's
Right,
all.
but somebody has to sign it. I just
Right.
can't just place it
No.
on the podium here and just walk away.
No, okay, wait. I don't know exactly what was in the paper, but if you take your form, fill it out, the one-page form, you sign it, you fax it in, that's all you need from us.
Well, then that's what I'll do.
You'll have your fax receipt showing that you faxed it in on time, and so will we, okay? Then use the next several days to get your documentation together that you want to present. We're gonna break off into groups of 3, okay? Not tonight. Thank you, Reed. Not tonight, okay? So, ma'am, let me thank you for raising your hand, because I didn't realize that people were here to actually receive forms, okay? Absolutely, okay? Yes, sir. Come on forward.
It's Bruce Pfister. I live in Covington.
Can we
Bruce
turn-
what, sir?
Bruce Pfister, I
Okay.
live in Covington. Can we turn these forms in here tonight?
Yes, sir, you can.
Oh, okay,
You can turn those in here tonight.
okay, thank you. No, so
Would you
there's
like a
nothing
photo-
else- There's nothing else we can do tonight?
No, sir, but let me recommend, anybody that turns in a form tonight, let us make you a photocopy of it,
Okay,
okay? And then that way you have it when you're coming in to see us. You want as much documentation as possible, okay? Remember, what you're trying to arrive at is your fair market value. What is your house worth at as of January 1st of this year? Okay?
I'd have one more question.
Come on forward to the microphone, sir.
66 years old.
Come up to the mic a little bit, Mr. Pfister.
I'm 66 years old, and my taxes went up this year, and I thought they were supposed to freeze when you turned 65.
Okay, did you go to the assessor's office when you turned 65? And
No, I didn't.
okay, well, let me just say this without getting personal, okay? We can help you when the assessors people get here, okay, when we do our Board of Review appeals. There's a limit. If you're making $100,000 a year, for example, you can't get a fixed rate from age 65 on. If you're under a certain level where you have a fixed income, that's what it's for, okay, to take care of our seniors
Yeah.
who are on fixed incomes. So we can certainly put you with one of the parish assessor, deputy assessors, Mike.
And
Do
if
I
I may add, Mr. Bender, that the gentleman may want to consider going to the assessor's office. If you live near Covington, that would be in the Justice Center. If you live in the Slidell area, that would be the Towers Building. And they should be able to assist you with that designation as a freeze because of your age. And if you do resolve it with them, then just advise our office that it's been resolved for you.
Okay, well,
But
would I have to fill out one of these forms for that, or just,
Well, you would have to fill out whatever form the assessor's office requires. But if you're satisfied with your current assessment as proposed, you just want to make sure it's frozen, then that's all you would need to do. However, I think what Mr. Bender was saying, if you're not pleased with what your current assessment is, and you would like to see about having it reduced, then yes, you've done the right thing by giving us this form, and we'll notify you when to come to the hearing.
yeah, well, I didn't fill out a form for that, but my taxes have gone up since last year. I thought they would just automatically. freeze.
Correct. So you'll be notified of the hearing date, and then just come, and like Mr. Bender said, we'll help resolve it with the assessor's office.
Well, I guess I need a blank form, too.
Let me add, Ms. Dina has the forms, the appeal forms, okay? Dina, you want to just walk around and whoever needs one? Yes, ma'am. You need to come forward. Wait, come on up here.
Yes, Althea,
Yeah,
it's your time.
you have to come forward.
Thank you.
What is your name, please?
My name's Althea Boudreau. I've been a property owner in St. Tammany since 1975. I'm going to read a statement for our subdivision as a whole, if that's okay.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Is this about your assessments have gone up?
Yes, sir.
Let me just say this to you, and I'm going to let you read it. How long is it?
7 lines.
Go ahead and read it.
Okay. Okay.
I mean,
just-
you had a packet of papers
No,
there,
this
and
is-
I'm thinking,
no.
whoa.
I'm sorry. Okay, I just wanted to give you some background. I've been a resident and homeowner since 1977 of Frenchman Estates, and that's the subdivision that I'm speaking for.
Right.
We've been gathering statistics that are still being added to, but these are our statistics as of today. 42+% of our homeowners in the subdivision are fighting the tax increase to date. The entire subdivision has come together to create these statistics. It's not just the people that are fighting it. 92% of our homes have flooded at least once, with many flooding twice and some as many as 5 times. One of the homes has actually been removed by FEMA. 77% of our homes have more than 100% increase in their taxes since 2004, some of them as high as 429%. The tax increase from 2011 to 2012 ranges from a minus 14% increase to 383%. Per square foot value of homes range between $81 to $113 in 2012 and $39 to $99 in 2011. That's our fair market value divided by our square footage. All but 2 homes in the subdivision are more than 20 years old, with some as old as 37 years. The subdivision was originally zoned rural. It has open ditches with no formal sewage system, a shared well for all the homes, separate septic systems, no fire hydrants, and blacktop roads. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Let me just add this real quick to the statement that the lady made. When you come, if you have not settled with the assessor on something that you believe is fair, you're going to come and meet with members of the council sitting as the Board of Review, okay? What we've done in the past and what we will do again, I'm certain, is, for example, in Frenchman Estates a situation, we will have a council member and more than one council member on that group that you're going to meet with that knows a lot about Frenchman Estates, okay? In the case of, for example, the rural area up around Folsom, let's say, we would have council members such as Sharp, Thompson, Tanner, okay? We would have those people involved because they're the most knowledgeable about those areas. And we want to be fair with the people, okay? So you'll be dealt with in a very, very fair fashion, okay? Any other, yes, sir.
This takes a little bit longer. I'm George Haas. I live in Slidell in Bel Air. Every time you go to the assessor's office to talk about your tax bill, the first thing they said is, where's your appraisal? You're going around, you're asking people to spend $300 to $400 for an appraisal to go in there that you might not even get back. And it costs you more for the appraisal than you're going to get on your offset on your taxes without it's out of sight. Mine, I went and I just looked at it like the lady did from Frenchman Estates. Every year it changes from one way or the other. The property value goes down, the property value goes up, the improvements go up and down, and it's just like whatever they feel like doing, and when you go to appeal it, it's like the first thing out of their mouth is, where's your appraisal?
So you're not required to have an appraisal when you go to the assessor's office. There's no law, let me just tell you, I understand what they're telling you. There's no law that requires that. You do not, so everyone knows, you do not have to bring an appraisal to us. The law is that your home should be assessed at fair market value and is a 10% leeway either way.
Correct.
Okay? Fair market value can be determined without an appraisal. Comps, and I'd recommend that you bring comps with you, okay?
I did.
Homes, no, I'm talking about to us. If you're trying to tell me that the assessor's office is a disaster,
No, I'm not trying to tell you that.
Okay.
I'm just saying what you run into when you go there, trying not to come here.
well, I understand you're going there trying not to come here, but obviously you're here because you didn't get anything when you went there.
Correct. Okay. But I just wanted to bring it to your attention, what's the first thing out of their mouth when you try to do an appeal is, well, even though you have all your comps, where is your appraisal on your house?
You don't need to have an
I
appraisal.
understand that, but I was just bringing that to the council's,
No, and I appreciate that, and I understand we have no rule over the assessor's office.
understand
That's
it.
an independently elected official.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Jerry, can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Has anybody that's here that has appealed to the assessor's office, gotten a phone call back, made an appointment, heard anything from them whatsoever? Nobody.
Nobody.
Their books are still open, I understand, the books, that she's keeping them open to do this, but our appeal date ends tomorrow, and that she hasn't even contacted any of these people to do anything about their taxes. So I don't blame them for being here, and I don't blame
Oh,
them.
I don't blame him at all for being here. Excuse me one second. Mr. Belisario.
Just to add on to what Richie has, I have an email from a taxpayer in the settlement area of behind Quail Ridge. he finally got through. He filed his appeal working with me on the 14th of September. He found out yesterday in a telephone conversation that his appeal will be heard in 4 to 6 weeks. And he was advised to come to us, and he has already done that. It is a slow process. There's no two ways about it. So if you don't get a call within a week, don't be surprised.
I would not depend upon that. The state law says that we sit as the Board of Review, as does every other parish council or police jury in the state of Louisiana, okay? Now, in the past, that's been questioned, well, how can you all make a good determination as a Board of Review? It's very simple. We know the parish. We have 14 council members that have been elected by you all, okay? We have a stake in the game in representing our constituents in the fairest way possible, and I assure you that in the last 8 years, the appeals that I've seen that this council has made have been fair. I've seen very few people come in trying to beat the system. I've seen 95% of the people that come before us come in sometimes in tears, very upset, with very legitimate issues, okay? And we take those issues seriously. So you'll be dealt with, I feel, by all of our colleagues here in a very, very fair manner. Whether you want to appeal in 6 weeks back to the assessor, Terry, I don't even know if that's allowed by law. But if you want to, go ahead. I would not use that promise to not come to our Board of Review meetings, okay? Any other questions? Okay. Why don't all three of y'all come forward and we'll go one behind the other. Now, do me a favor if you don't mind. We're here for you. But if you hear the question asked and it's answered, feel free to just, move forward. Yes, sir. State your name.
My name is Lawrence Parr. I live in Powell Heights in Lacombe.
Yes, sir.
And I'm wondering, how do y'all determine fair market value? Is it based on square footage, or is it based on somebody driving around a pickup truck looking at houses?
Let me go to Mr. Savant.
I will defer to legal counsel. The only thing that I was going to say real quickly is under state law, sir, fair market value is defined as that value that a willing buyer and a willing seller would agree upon within a reasonable period of time.
My house was assessed at $225,000 and was flooded twice.
Right. What do you
I don't
think
think
you
it's
can
worth
sell it
that.
for?
Huh?
What do you believe you can sell it for right now, sir?
Well, with the flood insurance and that up, you can't sell it. You couldn't hardly sell it for $100,000 right now.
And it would be important for you, sir, to, at the very least, look around your neighborhood at houses that are similar to yours, then go on the assessor's website and see what theirs is being assessed at. Now, it may be, that all of y'all's are assessed wrong.
I have a neighbor that just moved in 2 weeks before the storm, paid $162,000 for a house that's bigger than my house with 2 lots.
That would be a
Wait
great
a minute.
example to bring
His
with
house-
you.
His house was assessed for $325,000. The same house is sold for $162,000.
It's that kind of information that you want to bring with you to the hearing, because the council is going to need something to base their decision on. And that kind of information is going to be relevant.
And then we're talking about houses that are sitting on slabs in a flood zone A.
Right.
You're not going to sell it.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Mr. Falconer.
I still get a sense that there's a bit of confusion about the roles that the various elements of government here are playing in this process. Be assured that we do not run the assessor's office. We are sitting as the Board of Review for the assessments that have been established by the assessor's office. So when you ask the question, how do you value your home? We don't value your home. We are merely looking at the assessment that has been established by the assessor's office. The assessor, I can't speak for the assessor, so I don't know how they valued your home. But what you need, so if you're uncomfortable and unhappy with your assessment, you need to fill out the form that allows you to then come to the parish council and argue your case why the assessor is wrong.
Well, I have more than one piece of property in this parish.
Right.
You
And
can
that-
bring all
And you
10.
can bring all 10, that's good. But what you're going to need to bring to us, when we sit as the Board of Review, you need to make an argument, a logical argument, why the assessor is wrong in the number that has been assigned to your property. So if you can bring, you don't have to bring a $300 appraisal, we've made that very clear. If you can bring comparables of properties that are similar to what you have, that can just demonstrate that the assessor's valuation is wrong. And that's what we'll be looking at. And hopefully, we will agree with you and adjust that number. But it may,
The last, 4 years ago when y'all did it,
correct.
all you did was knock my taxes down $200.
Well, I can't speak for the group that did it last time, but bring us the information.
No substantial tax decrease in it, $200.
Well, bring us the necessary information that'll make the argument that the assessor is not correct. That's what we need, okay? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Falcon. Those are good points. Yeah, let me just say, the key thing that Mr. Falconer is saying is bring documentation, okay? A perfect example, the gentleman just said, a person bought a home for $163,000. That is what a willing buyer and a willing seller agree on. The fact that that home got assessed at $320,000, that person should be coming to us if they're not getting any relief from the assessor. You see? Now, whether we would agree that your assessment should come down $200 in dollars in your pocket or $800, that depends on what the assessor has assessed your home at and what we look at the documentation for. We're not here to override the assessor just because, okay? Go ahead, sir.
I guess, my name's Thomas Willett. I live in Turtle Creek subdivision. Purchased a house in June, and I got the assessment back, and the price, or the value of it went up $70,000
Over what you paid for it?
over what I paid for
Okay,
it.
so
File an appeal.
what would you do?
Come see me.
Okay. I'll come see
You're gonna bring the act of sale documents.
Just bring the closing papers.
Yeah.
And that's adequate documentation,
Yeah.
and I don't have to go get a
That's what a
appraisal
willing
or
buyer paid
a
from a willing
comparables
seller,
and-
right?
Yes, and that house has been on the market for over a year,
Yeah.
so,
So
okay,
that's the kind of stuff we need.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
My name's Bob Barrett. I live in Slidell. I have a business in Slidell and a home in Slidell. And just a quick something about a fellow that was up here earlier that said that he was over 65 years old and trying to get his thing. And I think you guys should know this, that if you earn less than $67,700, your taxes are frozen. Nobody answered that question,
Right.
but the assessor's office told me that yesterday.
Right.
Just to get that issue going on.
Yes.
Second issue is my own property, my business, my commercial property. The taxes went up 1,050%. That's 10 times. They have assessed the building that I have on Pontchartrain Drive in Slidell at over 3 times what I paid for it 8 years ago or 10 years ago, whatever it was, okay? Now, guys, I don't know what's going on here, but it's like you're putting the business guy at a point of saying, I don't want to do business in the parish of St. Tammany anymore. I just want out.
Let me, you'll pronounce your last name Barrett?
Barrett, B-A-R-R-E-T-T.
Okay, Mr. Barrett, you're in my council district,
Okay.
okay? The statement that you just made, okay? Obviously, I and my colleagues here think that that's an egregious error, okay?
Yes.
The people that clapped, we would be clapping with them, okay, if it were proper etiquette. I mean, the fact is, none of us are attached to the assessor's office.
I
That's why
understand.
we're the Board of Review.
I'm not trying to kill the messenger.
No. But if
Okay.
you went up 1,000%, okay, they had to find oil under your property. Okay?
Like I told them, and I told the assessor's office when I filed that, whatever it is thing, if my building is worth that much, I'll sell it to you, the parish, tomorrow morning.
Right.
And I'll cut $100,000 off.
But do me a favor, when you say you, the parish, say I'll sell it to you, the assessor.
No.
'Cause that's
you
what
are
it
my
is.
parish government, all of you. okay? And that's why I'm here tonight.
But
Okay,
we're
apparently
here
I
to
can't get to
represent
the
you.
assessor, okay?
We're
Or they
here
haven't
to
gotten to me.
We're here to represent you fairly.
Okay, I understand.
So please, do you have your form filled out?
Yeah, I issued
Turn
it
it
2
in.
weeks ago. I haven't heard from
I'll
anybody.
be in the group that'll be hearing, well, you're going to hear from us,
Okay,
okay? You'll be
Okay.
given a night that you're going to be coming.
okay.
But we can't tell you when you're coming until it closes tomorrow at midnight,
Okay.
okay?
Well,
Jerry,
you
can I
stop
add
by and see me, 3127 Pontchartrain Drive.
Yes, sir. I want to find out where that all's coming from.
Okay.
Mr.
Mr.
Falcon.
Barrett,
Yes, sir.
before you go, you're going to need, because you're talking about a commercial property, you're going to need a little bit different information when you come to your appeal, when they call you. The nature of commercial property is that there may not be comparables that exactly match your property.
I
Remember
understand.
that when we're assessing the valuation of your real estate, it's not the value of your ongoing business. It's just the value of the real estate itself.
It's not only that, I mean, like, you know, what I'm saying is the business, the part of my facility has been vacant for over a year. I haven't got down a
That's
cent
the
off
kind
of
of
it.
information we're going to be looking for.
Take photos of it with your for lease signs on it.
Because you're going to come
I'll-
in,
I'll
we're going to
put
meet in
signs
one of
up,
the
all right.
offices. No. But I want you to understand, we're going to be meeting in a room around here, and you've got to be
Okay.
able to argue your case that the property is worth something. It's,
Okay.
some value, and it's not your
understand.
business, it's the real estate itself.
No, I mean,
So-
that's all I'm talking about
Right.
is the
Gotcha.
real estate. Okay,
I just
thank
wanna
you.
make sure you were
Yes,
clear.
sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Come on forward.
My name Abraham William. I got the same problem the guy have on, down on Lake Road.
Yeah.
Lake Road, the price they put on my property, it's ridiculous. To be honest with you, that swamp, all my swampland is so worth so much in value. Where is that? I don't know. I
Yes,
can't
sir.
sell it. You know, the bank don't want to buy nothing out anymore. I'm gonna let y'all know that. The bank don't want to invest their money out anymore. Because he told me, they said, look, I'd like for you to help me pay this off.
And Mr. Abraham, that's why the state constitution has us sit as the board of review, so that you have a public body that is able to legally hear your case.
I wish y'all could see some of the property that I own that they put high prices on. I wish y'all take a look
You
at
can
it.
appeal every one of them.
I'm gonna appeal of it one.
All right, Mr. Grovey.
Mr. Williams, and this is for the whole audience, if any of your property sustained any damage to Hurricane Isaac, that will make a big difference. You make sure you get in and file the appeal with the assessor's office and with us. She has to take off, a fair market value if your property suffered. I know almost everybody on Lake Road suffered, and most everybody south of the trace in my district. So if your house is back there and it got flooded, make sure you let them and us know. That makes a big difference.
And
What
bring
about
your
your vacant property
documents.
too? I'm gonna do the vacant property too, because she got them high in the assessment.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
Bring your documents, bring photos, bring whatever you can bring.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm
Man,
sorry.
you got over your stage fright.
No, since I'm representing a large group of
Sure.
people, we need clarification on the process. We know we're going to be coming to you, we got that. How binding is your decision? Because I have had
Good question.
stories sent to me in emails that they went through the process and then it was overturned by LTC.
Yes. Our process is this binding, okay? We're the first step in the review process, or what I would call, I know my attorney would tell me this, due process, okay? Once we make a ruling and we vote on what we believe, let's say, your assessment should be, okay? At that point, the assessor now has the right, as well as you would, okay, to say, I want to appeal the parish council's decision as the board of review to the Louisiana Tax Commission. So let's say in the case of yourself, let's say you thought we didn't give you enough of a lowering of your assessment. You could appeal to the Louisiana Tax Commission.
Okay.
If the assessor believes that we shouldn't have touched what their department did, their office did, they can appeal to the Louisiana Tax Commission. Let's say the Louisiana Tax Commission overturns our ruling. You could then appeal to district court, okay? It is an ongoing process. Now, is that very palatable for most people? No. What you're going to see, and this is important for everybody to understand, what you're going to see the night that you come, you're going to see several assessors sitting at stations. And they're going to probably be available to, and let me just say this the right way, make a, I don't want to say cut a deal, make an adjustment to your value that they put on it, okay? You then have to decide, do you want to accept that value, that new value? Or they may say, no, we're not going to do anything for you. You're not under an obligation when you file the appeal to us to actually come meet with us.
Okay.
It just gives you your right open to do so,
Okay.
okay?
Okay, second level of the onion. In the meantime, this is going to take a long time. It's not going to happen overnight. Are people required, if this drags out all the way to December, to pay their taxes?
It's, yes. But it is going to be resolved by that time, unless you wind up in district court.
Okay, so we're still required by law to meet that tax obligation, otherwise we'll have interest put on it.
You'll have interest and penalties put on it, and you could possibly have it go to tax sale.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, I'm Joy Velez, and I live in Covington, and I have property in Slidell and Lacombe. My question to y'all is, and I know that you're not the assessor, but when I went to the assessor's office and asked them this question, I really didn't get a clear answer. On our new assessments, it says improvements, and they have these numbers on there saying improvements. How do they come to the conclusion of an improvement? I've had the same house, and I'm gonna give you a perfect example. I have a vacant lot, the same, it's been that way for 5 years, and they put down that I had $9,700 in improvements. How do you improve a vacant lot?
Did you improve it?
No, it's vacant.
In other words, what I'm saying is, so you didn't plant nice trees on it, you didn't bring in
It actually needs to
dirt?
be cleared. When I bought it, it needs to be cleared, and I mean,
Then
I don't.
you just-
I'm trying to figure out how did they come to that conclusion?
But you're asking us to answer something that we can't give you an answer on.
Okay.
We have no clue.
Obviously, that's a mistake.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a mistake on their part, because improvements are your home, your garage, your, whatever, your structures that you put on it.
Okay.
Obviously,
Now, okay,
they
another
look-
example, my home in Covington. I haven't done anything to my house in Covington. It's the same way I bought it, and they appraised it at $99,000.
But, and what was it appraised at before?
I bought it for 63 5 years ago.
Okay. What you have to do, though, is, instead of, we can't solve your problem
I know.
tonight, okay?
I realize that. I filed the appeal.
No, and what I can tell you is again, bring documentation, bring what you paid for it, you're gonna say, and we'll believe you, we can tell if people are trying to fib to us. I didn't make any improvements since then, okay? Maybe the value of your property went up. Maybe it didn't. But you need to prove it didn't.
Okay. Like my vacant lot, I've had it for sale for 3 years, and nobody even bites on it. I mean,
That's why you're going to come see us.
okay, all right.
Okay?
Thank you, I appreciate your time.
You're quite welcome. Okay, if there are Mr.
One more
Falcon.
thing. I just want to, I don't want to belabor it, but I want to make sure everybody's clear. You have to fill out, if you filled out paperwork with the assessor, that's the assessor's business. You have to fill out a form with us as a separate action, and I would recommend everybody out here do that tonight before you leave, because it's a separate deal.
Excuse me one second.
Don't think
Gene.
because you filled out the assessor's form that you filled out one for us.
Before I go to Mr. Belisario, and I'm sorry, Mr. Pearson, I just noticed your head sticking around the corner. Want to acknowledge one of our state representatives, Kevin Pearson, is here tonight. Kevin, if you'd wave to everybody. Okay.
Mr. Jerry,
Thank you, Kevin.
Kevin's here to speak, and so is Jack Francione. They were just waiting for an opportunity to speak.
Then I need to know it.
Now you
Come
know.
on up, Kevin.
Thank you, all the council and everything. And I've got to say, representing an area of Slidell, I do appreciate what you're doing. I know exactly what you're saying. You did not assess any of these properties. I mean, you, thank God, are the Board of Review that can come and can make these things fair and equitable and where they should be. A few examples in my area. You've heard from homeowners. You've heard from one business owner. And I'm truly concerned about the area. I mean, we're all one parish, obviously, and it seems like this quadrant of the parish seemed to take an exceptional hit. to name a few examples. And my concern is, we're not going to have these, business owners are busy. I mean, some of them are probably going to come up, it's going to be in December, they're going to find out and really realize and send a check. And I don't know, hopefully our new assessor can come in and deal with that. I see one address, I pulled up about a dozen addresses in Slidell, and to give you some examples, one business, 320 House Beach Road, went from $1,400 to approximately $21,000. So if you're talking about something, and that's not the worst increase dollar-wise, 30,000 to 78,000, 21 to 36, 4,000 to 17,000. What do you do as a business owner? I mean, at the end of the year, and I thank y'all for this, but I mean, I will try and get every one of these business owners to come, and homeowners, as they should, because this is not bringing, as I understand, additional dollars to any taxing body. It is really just having a major effect on, I mean, some will see the millages go down slightly, but in general, this is not going to bring more money into the schools or fire. 6,000 to 15,000, but I'll get to one, 26,000 to 58. I got to get to this one that is in here that I thought was one of the most egregious. Okay, 3,400 to 24,000, but I guess that's not too bad. 3,400 to 21,000. $15,600 to $91,000. And this is a storage facility in our area. I mean, what are these guys going to do? I mean, you've been operating your business the entire year, 50% occupied, not the full amount, and all of a sudden they come along this. The biggest question and the biggest problem that the businesses seem to have is no one has a clue how they came up with these values. No idea. You know, did you use a cost method? And if no one will return phone calls, how did they do it? And how do they appeal? But I just wanted to mention some of these examples, and I got a call just from someone today. It's like, what do? I just shut up, and I can go move to a Nicholson exit and operate a business there, and, I mean, keep the same employees. We don't want to lose these guys in St. Tammany. I mean, we're all one. We need to work together. Again, I appreciate what y'all do, and I promise you, anything that I can relay to the Louisiana Tax Commission, I will. And I'm ready to go to them and tell them they need to back y'all. So, thank you for what you're doing.
Kevin, I'm glad that you brought that up, because I'm going to say this on my own, okay? But it is what it is. The Louisiana Tax Commission is a highly political body, okay?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
I agree.
The Louisiana, the assessor's offices, the assessors got together and backed a person for governor, okay? Now, I'm going to call a spade early on. And that tax commission is loaded with ex-assessors and people that have a vested interest that are not for the people. And when your assessor, we might as well be eliminated by the state of Louisiana, the Board of Review, if the tax commission only overturns. We had two people 4 years ago that went to the tax commission that didn't get overturned. You know who they were? Two attorneys. You know why? They threatened to sue the tax commission and the assessor. That's the only reason. Two got overturned out of 500 that she went with.
I promise you, I will do everything. And I mean, if it takes legislation, whatever, I'm ready to deal with them. And I mean, whatever it takes to correct it. I'll speak with the governor if that's what it takes. The tax commission, I've already talked to Charles Abels and told him that we did have a significant problem down here. I'll go spend time in his office, but I will work with y'all on that and all the people in this
And Kevin,
area.
this is aimed at you. I appreciate you coming tonight.
know.
You didn't have to.
Yeah.
I thank you. You need to talk to Charles Abel, because let me tell you something. 4 years ago, all that guy kept saying in the newspaper was, oh, it's right, oh, it's right, oh, it's right. Well,
These
do you
aren't
think
right.
what you just said
These are
right?
not- These are not right.
That's all we're going to hear
We
again,
know that.
is, oh, it's right.
We'll deal with them. I'll
Thank
do
you.
everything I can to get
Help
my
us with
colleagues
the
to work
tax
with me.
commission to be
I will
fair to our
promise
people.
you I'll do everything I can. And
Thank
I'll
you
get my
so
colleagues
much.
to help. Thank
Thank
y'all.
you so much.
Good evening, Council. Good evening, Mr. Bender. Thank you for the time. Jack Francione, and I chair the public policy for the East St. Tammany Chamber of Commerce. And we've had several business owners that started calling us a week and a half ago about this issue, and Kevin hit on a lot of high points. I'm glad he covered a lot of the dollar amounts. I won't be shy to tell you that the dollar amounts that he's telling you about are a bunch of car dealerships that are right along House Beach Road that went up $50,000. Those dealerships employ about 750 people, and if they shut down, that's 750 jobs that go bye-bye. And it would be a lot easier for them to go right across into Mississippi, have a smaller dealership, employ less people, and make more money. So something's got to get done with that. The businesses, I think Kevin brought up a lot of good points, but what we're facing is a lot of small businesses. We have people, you know, that they can't get to the assessor's office and make appeals. They're 1 and 2 people, okay? You go to the assessor's office, you go to plant there for about 5 or 6 hours and get nowhere. Somebody came up earlier and said, I did have a business owner that went for their personal property, happened to be in Turtle Creek, brought comparables from 2008 to 2011, because her taxes went up $700. Well, she got shot down because they said she needed an appraisal from the time period July 2010 through June 2011. That's what she was told. And I said, you need to get something to the parish, to the Board of Review. The problem is the information that's getting out, and I think Kevin hit on it. What we're struggling with as business owners is that the businesses have no idea what these assessments are based on. If it was income,
Nobody
if it
does.
was cost, they have no idea. There was nothing that was sent out, so they really don't know not only that, but what information they're supposed to bring with them to combat this. If they come before the Board of Review, what do they need? And I think if somehow the information gets out there, you know, you may not be getting as many people filing appeals because people are exhausted. Some of the businesses are just saying, I'm not doing it anymore, and they're shutting down. I found out on a ride over here, we have over 100 vacant offices for lease in the Slidell area right now, and I have a feeling it's going to be more. The businesses were at their brink before Isaac due to the economy, and now with this coming on board, and all of a sudden you're getting slapped with a tax bill that you really had no idea about until you were alerted about it. Some of them, like Kevin said, may not even see it till December. The people really don't know what to do. They just don't have money anymore, and if the taxes are going up, they can't stay open. And then I look against, you know, people that lease the property out. You have some people that are leasing. That burden's going to get passed on to somebody.
But Jack, let me tell you, and then I'm going to go to Mr. Groby. One thing we got to relate to businesses and property owners, whether they're individuals or whatever, we can't give up, okay? That's the worst thing that they can do. I've got a small business that called me the other day. They were paying $4,000 in the last 4 years. Now it's $14,000. Well, what they need to bring with them is what has occurred in your business in the last 4 years to raise it from $4,000 to $14,000, okay? Because you're right, it's a willy-nilly. How's it 14? I don't know.
Well, if I can just
Well, why
state something
isn't it
too.
16?
In
Let me
reading
go
on
to
the
Mr.
assessor's
Groby quick.
website.
Let me go to Mr.
Okay.
Groby quick.
I have a constituent who has a business in Slidell as well, and his taxes went up about 450%. And he had an observation I can't disagree with. Either 4 years ago, they didn't do their job right, or this year, they didn't do their job right. One of them's got to be wrong.
Yep.
And I won't disagree with you on that, but I don't think anybody has the answer, and I think that's the problem. I think business owners, you know, if it was underassessed years ago, this is just my personal opinion, I think they knew these assessments were going higher, and they surely could have alerted a lot of people and been willing to work with a lot of people. When you have assessments going up 1,000%, somebody from the assessor's office should have been calling that business. That's not the way to treat businesses, you just slapping them with that. They don't have the money. People do not, businesses, the economy is struggling. I'm worried about economic development. Why would a business want to come? Why would a business want to stay?
But a business should want to come to the Board of Review because the state has put this in place. And State Representative Pearson shaking his head, yes. This was put in place for a reason, okay? It was put in place whether you agree or disagree with your assessment. If you disagree and you have no good reason to disagree, you still have the right to appeal. If you disagree and you have every great reason, bring the documentation with you. Don't let them give up.
Well, I would just tell you, we're encouraging people. We sent out an email blast encouraging businesses to fax over the appeal to the assessor and with the fax number for the Board of Review here. But one thing I did want to say, you were talking about how they arrive at market value. This is what it has on the website. To arrive at fair market value for your property, the assessor must know what willing sellers and willing buyers are doing in the marketplace. He must also keep current on cost of construction in the area and any changes in zoning, financing, and economic conditions which may affect property values. Well, if they're using that, I don't know what you need to look at, because the economy is certainly struggling. And I don't, again, we've tried to figure out, we've tried to get answers on what they use so we can pass it on to our members, but we can't get a clear indication of what they use as far as to assess the property. And the other thing is that we want the people that do file to bring the right documentation when they come. So I think this is great. We've been trying to get the message out. I think if people are watching tonight, hopefully they've heard the comments that you have made. Probably one discouraging thing is what you just mentioned to Councilman Pearson, is that when it went to the tax commission and you got overturned.
But I have to tell you, and the reason I said what I said is it needs to be stated.
Oh, I agree.
But Councilman Pearson, I have every belief, if he decided to come here tonight, he's going to be good on his word that he said in front of all of us, and go to the governor, go to the tax commission, go to Charles Abel and say, cut the bull. Okay? We, the Board of Review, know our subdivisions. We know what our businesses are worth at this time. If anything, a lot of weight should be put on the decision that we make, especially when they see 500 people, businesses and property owners coming before them with outrageous assessments. Let's think about it. If any of us in this room was sitting on a tax commission, you'd think we'd be going, uh-oh, we got a problem with somebody, and it ain't the property owners and the business owners. So I say, don't give up the fight. Come with your appeals. We've got a great chamber. You know I'm a member of the chamber. We got to get the word out for those people to come, east and west, okay?
Well, and I want to thank Councilman Belisario. He's been working with us on that, and so is Representative Pearson's been very involved in this. So that's the main thing, is that to get the message out to the people. And I think that form, if I'm correct, that form they can fill out, that you handed out tonight, they can fill out as much as they can, but they don't have to have all the data that's required in it, because I think people got confused with that they would have to have all that.
Basic information, and then they can go home and start gathering their documentation, okay?
Well, I appreciate it, and thank you for what you do. We appreciate that,
Thank
too.
you,
And if there's
Jack.
any information that we can send out through the chamber that you think would help,
Please
we will
email
certainly
all
do.
you chamber members
That went out
tomorrow.
they went out tonight.
Send them again and let them know they can fax up till midnight, right before midnight tomorrow night.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you. My name is John Othman. I live in Madisonville.
Yes, sir.
And I went to the assessor's office, filed an appeal, and it was like rejected. And they told me that if I got an appraisal, you know, it might change things, or if I got comps and all that, they would compare them. Well, at the time, I didn't have that. Well, I have it now, and also when I was there, and I asked them how they figured the fair market value of the property. And they told me that if a house, I told them recently a house had sold in the neighborhood for $199, and they said, well, that's not how the taxes are figured. If they adjust that and feel it's assessed at, say, $250,000, $300,000, then that's what they're going to assess it at. It's not so much what the sale of the property is. That exactly came from their office. And I
past
disagree
history
with them. I
doesn't
never heard
show
of that
to be
before.
the case on new sales.
Yeah, this
New
was
sales, you're generally going to see that first year's assessment is going to be right in line, close to that sale price.
yeah, that's normally what I thought it was. I'd like to turn this into you all.
Get a
And,
photocopy if you would, sir.
Okay, I appreciate it. And I don't know who the council person is that handles Madisonville. Who would that be?
That would be Mr. Falconer.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You got
That's
a good one.
That's it. That's all I had. And I have all my comps, but how soon before y'all start calling for these meetings?
Mike?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that question, sir. It gives me an opportunity, Mr. Bender, to say that the council office has received over 600 appeals so far. We have, under state law, a limited amount of time in which to hear the appeals, 15 days once they start to begin, to be exact. We hope to begin next Tuesday, to begin hearing the appeals, but it will be a 2-week process, given the number of appeals that we've received. So the answer to your question is, you may hear from us before the end of this week, but you then again might not hear from us for a week.
Okay,
So I would say that if you haven't heard from us by this time next week, call us.
okay. And the meetings will be in the evening?
Yes, they will begin at 6 o'clock unless, like Mr. Bender alluded to, we have to have weekend sessions.
Okay.
Then there'll be all-day marathons.
Okay, thank you.
Sir?
Yeah, excuse me one second, Jake. What's that for? Ms. Ford, as our council clerk is reminding me, please put as much contact information since we're going to be contacting you, okay? Mr. Groves?
Sir, you said you now have a chance, you've pulled some of your comps, sir?
Sir?
You said now that you've had a chance to research it after you were rejected by the assessor's office.
Yes.
You've been able to pull some comps and
Yes,
stuff?
I have.
I would strongly suggest going back over there tomorrow, appealing with her again, show her what she asked you for, and make sure you still get your appeal in here. But exhaust all the chances over there first. She may go ahead and adjust it to a satisfactory level, now that you have the documentation she asked you for. We're working from both sides.
Okay, well, she also asked me if we had any damage from Isaac, and which we did. We had some rain-driven water gotten
Take a
under
picture, bring it
the
over there,
floors.
file it with us, too.
Well, she told me the only way that would make a difference is if I file a claim with the insurance company, and that I had to show proof I did that. Well, with the high deductibles, my damage, if you got a 4 or 5% deductible and you got a $200,000 house, and your damage is not that high, you're not going to make the claim.
But you need to make the claim anyway. You really do, because those claims, those deductibles, and I'm not an insurance expert by any means, but my understanding of it is, if we get another storm, then that deductible claim that you've already made for Isaac will ameliorate, will count into the number that
Yeah,
you're.
well, I
for the
agree
second
with that, but I also heard if I make the claim and there's no settlement on my end, then next year, when my premium comes up, they increase it.
Well, what can I tell you?
Yeah,
That's beyond my pay grade.
I heard that,
I would still go back to her office tomorrow, put in the secondary appeal, show her that you've gotten that paperwork, and then file with us also.
Okay. All right.
By the way, while this lady's coming forward, if anybody's concerned about will we be able to hear your appeal with 600 and counting, we heard 1,052 appeals 4 years ago. And I'm just letting you know, we work 5 nights from 6 to 12 midnight and 2 Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So you will get heard if you want to be heard, okay? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Kathy Campo. I'm from Slidell, Frenchman Estates. And this is not so much from my area alone. I just want to say that people have a perception of an area and of real estate. I'm a transplanted New Orleanian from 20 years ago, and I guarantee you people's perception will affect an area. And what I'm hearing really scares me, that if businesses pick up and leave, and people's perception is, I'm not moving to Slidell, we are in trouble. And that is very scary to me. I like my house, I like my neighborhood, I like the conveniences. And if I lose all of that, then it's like, you feel like, why do I stay? But it's a shame to lose what we have because we're taxed.
We're
And
going
if-
to work with you.
Yeah.
Mr. Stefanczyk.
Mr. Chairman, I think in listening to all the people tonight, and I think Kevin and Jack Francione said it best, we don't understand the process that the assessor is going through. I'm going to ask as a Board of Review, and if not, the Board of Review to ask our assessor to come before the council next Thursday evening and explain to us the process she has used to evaluate these properties, and especially the commercial properties on the east side of Slidell. Now, she should tell us that for the whole parish, but what has she done and what process has she used? If she refuses, I'm going to ask the legal counsel, with the council's permission, I'm going to ask the legal counsel to review section 2-8 of our charter and see if under that particular item that we could require her to be here to do that at some time in the future. I want to give her a fair chance to come here and do it on her own volition and her own accord. But if she turns that down, we need to decide with our legal counsel whether or not we can use that section to have her here and require her to be here. Okay?
Thank you.
And then I think it would take some wording of exactly what we need to do, but I think that's why I've asked legal counsel.
And that's correct, Mr. Stefancic. I'll be glad to visit that section of our charter. As you know, having served so many years up here, that this would be the first time that in our history as a council that we'll have invoked that particular provision of our charter. So I will take a look at it, and I will extend the invitation, and I'll get back with the council and inform them as to what the response is, and then our response will act accordingly.
Thank you.
Let me also say, for our newer members of the council and for the people in the audience, the assessor, state law requires that when we open up our first appeal hearing that first night, that the assessor or a representative of the assessor's office has to be in attendance. That is a requirement of state law, okay? Now, that doesn't mean, and I agree with Mr. Stefancic, taking it a step further, it doesn't mean that that is going to get us anywhere, but it is a requirement that a representative or the assessor herself needs to be here, okay? So we'll give her the opportunity to speak if her or one of her representatives is here. That's fair. Anybody else? Yeah, Jack.
To clarify, you were saying that there is not an appraisal that would be necessary, correct, by state law?
That is correct. It's fair market value, what a buyer is willing to pay a willing seller.
Okay, because some of the costs that we heard today to get an appraiser for a home may be $500 to $1,000, and a business would be anywhere from $1,000 to $4,000, and you're not going to get one.
You're going to be very hard pressed to get that appraisal.
I just wanted to make sure and clarify that word got out as well.
You don't need it for us.
And appreciate what y'all are doing too. And one last thing, I'll just say that I still think that, our incoming assessor, we've had talks with him too, trying to figure out, but I still think it's kind of a shame that he's not allowed into their office yet, so that he can help out and figure these things out as well. So anyway, for what that's worth.
I talked to the incoming assessor today just to brief him about the Board of Review meeting tonight, not to have a long conversation, and told him that there was no need for him to be here tonight because we wouldn't be taking any action. He was willing to be here, but he is going to be here the nights that we're sitting as the Board of Review. So he would be here other than we knew we wouldn't be voting on anything tonight, okay? So, all right, thank you all so much, and please fill out your forms. Our office will be contacting you. And as I said, if you want to meet with council members, you will, as long as we have to stay. Thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Excuse me. Excuse me. Let me say this while everyone's here. I need a motion to go into recess. When we come back for our first Board of Review meeting, we will simply make a motion to come out of recess. Motion by Mr. Ortiz to recess, seconded by Mr. Smith. Please vote.
Mr. Chairman, while you're counting that vote, I might make a suggestion that this council, and I will sign the letter to our legislative delegation, that they try to change the law that when an election is held, the assessor takes office that same year instead of waiting a year.
Yeah.
I think a lot of this would be.
I agree.
taken care of.
Absolutely. Good point.
Mr. Sharp, Mr. Thompson.
Motion is unanimous, 3 absent.
Okay, and on behalf of the council, y'all very welcome to stay for our agenda review meeting. We're going to take a 5-minute break, but I thank you for coming tonight, and we'll see you back for the appeals nights. Thank you.